You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
What's up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Believe in Falcons. I am your host, Will McFadden. Joining me, as always, on Sunday evenings to break down a great Falcons win today is former Falcons fullback Ovie Mughelli. Ovie, what's up, man?
Not much. Doing great, especially after this win.
Dude, it was awesome, right? That was a fun
Yeah,
win.
it was very fun. It just made my bones feel good, down to my soul to see a complete win like that and to see us not, falcon it away or do what Falcons do. What do Falcons do? Lose the game at the end of the fourth quarter. That's what we do,
Shit
unfortunately.
the bed.
Yes. What do Falcons do? We already told you to. We find a way to mess it up.
Not these Falcons, though. Not these
These.
Falcons. They're doing
Yeah.
well. And
Love it.
you and I were both at the game. That's why I'm wearing. I literally just got home from the game, so I didn't dress up for this for our YouTube crowd. Although maybe I should. But great atmosphere. I could tell when the 49ers kind of came back and tied it at 14 there in the second quarter. You could tell how many San Francisco fans were in the building. It got kind of loud there for a second,
Yeah.
which made me worried. But Atlanta did an amazing job, I think, of neutralizing any type of away fan engagement in this game right from the jump, and really kind of impressed me with the way they recaptured momentum at times after losing it. How did it feel in the building to you?
It felt good, man. I was going from suite to suite with the Falcons. So I was peeking over, signing autographs, watching the game, signing autographs, watching the game.
Yeah,
And
I tried to find you before the game, and they wouldn't let me into the velvet rope section that you were behind. They said no.
VIP. I mean,
And you looked right at me, and you were like, "Don't fucking let him in."
that guy, no, don't know. I've never seen him before in my life. I was the VIP. So I couldn't, quite
There you
tell
go.
it was you. My bad. Next time.
Yeah, I just look
But
like
the
media.
Exactly. The energy was great, man. And the fans were surprisingly giving us the benefit of the doubt. They weren't as pessimistic as you and I get sometimes with the Falcons, and they were hyped to see them do something, especially after that irritating game last week with Tom Brady, which you don't talk about much. But after that debacle, we didn't want to leave it in the ref's hands. I think that's something that if I was in the locker room and I was a veteran leader, I'd say, yeah, the ref screwed Grady, the ref screwed AJ. But guys, come on. We spent 3 quarters just like chasing our tail and fooling around and shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, yeah, we're pissed off that we feel like we should have had a chance, but we should have never been in that position. I mean, you watch the Bucs get beat today by the Steelers. You're like, we could have beat them. We're better than the Steelers. The Steelers can beat the Bucs. God knows we could have beat the Bucs. So let's go and show the world, each other, the NFL, that we can play 4 quarters of football, and they did that.
They 100% did, and we're going to get into all of the nitty-gritty of the game, but the big picture takeaway is the way the NFC is shaping out this year. Why not the Falcons in the playoffs? Why not the Falcons winning the NFC South? Why not us? Right?
Yes.
Let's get into all of that, Ovie, right after this. All right. So first and foremost, I think the identity of this team, it's clear, is the run game. But today, the standout player for Atlanta to me was Marcus Mariota. And we talked not last week, but the week prior, the last time we convened, we gave a little bit of energy to the Desmond Ridder conversation.
We did.
Fairly, rightfully so.
Deservedly so.
Yes. Marcus Mariota was coming off of a couple of bad games. He wasn't much better against Tampa Bay, frankly, but the team has been able to play well, I think, because of some of the dangers that Marcus Mariota presents to a defense, and Arthur Smith kind of hinted at that after the game today. It's just the nightmare scenarios that all week long defenses have to factor in, even if Falcons never go to them, just because of what Marcus Mariota can do. But today, his ability to scramble on third downs really kept the Falcons alive, and their situational football, I think, was amazing. And part of that was his escapability. But 13 of 14 in this game, he didn't top 100 or 200 yards, but like he doesn't need to. He had 2 touchdown passes. He had a touchdown run, 50 yards.
Yep.
Marcus Mariota had his best game as a Falcon, and now we kind of see what this offense can look like when it is clicking pretty well. How exciting was that?
It was very exciting, and I'd like to say I'm not a flip-flopper because the last time we spoke, I said let's keep Marcus Mariota in there. Like he has to really lose the job because and you made a great point too. We want to see what the rest of the guys can do while we're evaluating
Yeah.
the Falcons. We don't want to have a wild card in there, so we don't know if the running backs can do what they're supposed to do, if the offensive line can do what they're supposed to do, if the receivers can run the routes and We want to see if Lamine Zaccheaus can be like the next Calvin Ridley, but we can't
Mm-hmm.
see that while we're going through the process of Desmond Ridder learning how to be an NFL quarterback. And even if that may take only 2 or 3 games or 3 or 4 games, those 2 or 3 or 4 games could keep us from a playoff position or not, or a wild card or not. And right now, Marcus is showing us why I was kind of so excited. A lot of people are so excited to get him because for the little itty bitty money we have, we don't have much money to go
Yeah.
to. He had such upside and was perfect for Arthur Smith for what we wanted and for I think the temperament of the team because you needed somebody who was going to buy in, who was going to be patient, who was going to not have an ego and be humble about the way that he was going to go about building this team, but also somebody who's going to help hold people accountable. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what Marcus does with the whole team, but himself as well. And so I'm happy that he probably heard the whispers. He definitely heard the whispers about, oh, Ritter's next. Ritter's on his tails. And he came out slinging. And I love the way he orchestrated, these long drives, even if it is a run, being able to just keep everyone on schedule and on pace.
Yes.
Amazing. Hats off to him.
You mentioned the Desmond Ritter calls, and maybe the most interesting thing of all day today, game included, was Marcus Mariota's post-game press conference, which you've done this for a decade. Like, that it's never ever are those post-game interviews really much of anything. But he was talking about it was 3 years to week 6 this week that he was benched in Tennessee. And he said he was thinking about that today. And kind of like, how could you not?
Mm.
Right? Like this, you are hearing some of these calls for, hey, let the rookie get a shot, get a run. It's all right. If I have a bad game today,
It could be it. It could
is
be
it deja
over.
vu? Right?
It could be
Is
the
it
end of my
Arthur
career.
Smith who benched me in Tennessee?
Ooh,
And
was
Mike
it?
Vrabel, I guess, is the head coach,
Uh,
but OC Arthur Smith, the decision was made. Let's go to Ryan Tannehill, and then the next chapter for Marcus Mariota is I'm going to be a backup in Las Vegas, and I think it's really, really telling that he came out and played his best game of the season, kind of with
mhm.
that pressure in the back of his mind. And
Yeah.
that kind of speaks to the calmness that Marcus Mariota brings to this team. It's something the players talk about a lot. It's like no matter the situation, he doesn't change, which Matt Ryan was the same way as well. Maybe a little bit more fiery than Marcus is. He seems a little bit, ironically, not, Matty Ice, but Marcus seems a little more cool and collected at times. But I don't know, man. He just played really well and impressed the hell out of me. And I thought it was kind of touching that it happened on the anniversary where things kind of went
Yeah.
wrong for him.
Yeah, Jesus. I've been there, man. I've to a lesser degree, but I remember when they drafted my third year with the Baltimore Ravens, and they drafted my replacement, Justin Green, nicest guy in the world. I follow him on Facebook. I congratulate him when he has a new kid. It's a really
That's
solid guy.
good.
But I
That's
knew
nice.
he wasn't better than me. Like I hated him because he was just so smug and he was a tailback from like Montana and he was like, oh, Justin
Mm.
can catch better than Ovie. Oh, Justin can run better than Ovie. I'm like, yeah, Justin's a tailback. I'm a fullback. Oh, Justin can block better. I'm like, hold on. He cannot block better than me. And it was, I had to show everyone during a couple of games in the preseason and during the first couple of games of the season, we were going back and forth. Like they give him some plays, they give me some plays, because they still haven't figured out who's going to be the starting fullback because Alan Ricard had hurt himself. And so not similar to Marcus Mariota, but just knowing that it's do or die. I worked
Yeah.
my whole life to get to this point. I was injured last year. They're looking for a reason to pull me. They're looking for a reason to pull Marcus. And having your brain just wired to perfect plays, and using that lack of trust in you to drive you. So like, I'm gonna show them. Like I'm gonna show. Like I'm really gonna show them.
Yep.
Marcus did it in a quiet, poignant, effective way. I was, brute force trying to bludgeon people to death, shaking people after the play. See, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. Marcus didn't quite do that,
Lorenzo
but no,
Carter did though.
yeah, true. So I know the feeling. I love it for as a vet. Hey, I'm always for vets' rights and for vets anything.
There you
I'm
go.
pulling for Marcus. I'm happy he showed up today.
He did. And, a great example, I think, of what we're talking about with being a veteran, kind of seeing things, it slows down, right? The game slows down. You're
Yeah.
just able to go through all of the checklist of pre-snap stuff you have to go through as a quarterback. It's just more second nature to him. And Kyle Pitts' touchdown, the first of the season, the first in America
Yeah.
for this man as an NFL player, which is
Wow.
insane. How does Kyle Pitts only have 2 touchdowns in his career? That's nuts.
Crazy.
But my angle in the press box was right behind the end zone, which I loved because watching the dynamics of this offense, especially pre-snap, is so fun and cool. And that's the best angle to see how everything unfolds.
Yep.
When they split out and they were 2-by-2 balanced set initially, the 49ers love to play kind of press man, but not necessarily in the red zone or near the goal line, which I was surprised that they were. But then they motioned the slot receiver to make a 3-by-1 look. And Kyle Pitts after the game said he was the backside one, which means maybe it's a rollout. Maybe it's some type of pick play to get a slant on the other side. Marcus Mariota said, hey, you know what? I got Kyle Pitts one-on-one against press coverage with like no help over here. If he's going to run a slant, I'm going to just fit it right into the window. And he did.
Yep.
And Kyle Pitts got the touchdown. That was awesome. And that's kind of what Marcus brings to the table a little bit. Not to say that Desmond wouldn't do that, but it was great. Kyle Pitts didn't do a ton today. Like he still isn't necessarily the biggest factor, but it was really nice to see him get a touchdown, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping that Kyle Pitts has the factor to where they're spending more time on him. And the reason he's not getting the touches is because he's opening other people up. I like to think that, but he's still good enough to have double coverage, to have people focusing on him, and to get the ball, to get first downs, to make big plays. And so he hasn't had that breakout game we've all been waiting for. Like this is like Marcus Mariota's breakout game. We were waiting for it.
Yes.
We got it. We're still waiting for the Kyle Pitts breakout game because Kyle is better than what we've seen the last couple of games. I don't know what else we got to do because we've been yelling at him. We've been talking about it.
I think it's game plan.
What's up? And what was it that our guy Arthur said? Like, it's not fantasy football. I'm like, dude, it doesn't have to be fantasy football to get your best player, one of your best players, the ball. So I mean, I guess we can look at it as glass, half full, and that we're this good, and Kyle Pitts hasn't even gotten going yet. You know, we're this dangerous, and Kyle Pitts hasn't really gotten to his groove yet. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Maybe we're saving them for the tougher games. And this was supposed to be the beginning, first half of this season was supposed to be one of the hardest schedules in the NFL, supposedly by a couple of different people. And to be 3-3, again, we were supposed to only win 2 games all season by some of the experts. So I guess we're going to lose all the games moving forward. I feel good. I feel like Kyle Pitts is going to hit his stride, and we'll be better for it.
And obviously it's so easy to just be like, next year's the year. But it just strikes me as so much game plan stuff. Like, I think the Falcons understand that, like, there's really just 1 or 2 paths to victory for them most weeks. And again, I don't want to disparage the talent of the players on this roster because they're all amazing at their job. And I think guys like Rashaan Evans, who we probably discounted coming from Tennessee because he was a little bit of a bust as like a former first-round pick, he was great today. Players like that. Troy Anderson, our guy, Troy Tracker, killing you. Killing you. He played well.
He did. And
he ran down the punt return. Ray McLeod on that punt return was going to be a touchdown until Troy Anderson turned into the Flash.
Troy has been impressive. Even last week when you were out, I was watching the game, but Troy Anderson, I mean, he got Dion up out of here. They're like, we've seen enough. Troy is legit. Troy's got a solid foundation that we can build on. And Dion, we'll see you later. We're gonna get some feedback from you or get some money from you and move on. But Troy is surprisingly just effective at what he does.
He's a good athlete.
Not the biggest, not the strongest, not the most flashiest, bulging muscles. Feel like he's a Greek god out there going to destroy. He's a guy. He's a guy who makes plays. He's like reminds me of Keith Brooking. Keith
Dog,
Brooking.
he is so much more athletic than Keith Brooking.
No, I'm saying as far as unassuming, Keith didn't scare anybody walking onto the field. I knew Keith during his later years where I used to trounce him. Love Keith. That's my dog. But the reason I got paid to come to the Falcons was because I demolished Keith when I was with the Baltimore Ravens and ragdolled him around. And he used to talk trash. When I came to Atlanta, he said, "Hey, Mughelli, none of that cheating stuff." I said, "Cheating? You mean when I get you and throw you around? That cheating stuff?" Like, hey, man, none of that stuff. But he was a good linebacker, and he was a guy that I don't think a lot of people saw becoming who he is. I think Troy can do the same thing. He's going to surprise people. I hope. We'll still see. I'm not fully sold, but I'm getting there.
I don't know. Troy reminds me a little bit of like Devondre Campbell with like he's just toolsy. Like I think he does have the length and like rare speed and stuff like that for a player his size. Troy Dye, an Oregon safety, also or linebacker. Anyway, came out of the draft a couple of years ago. Similar players as well, just long. Like he kind of does look. I know you like maybe doesn't play like a superhuman, but like he looks like a superhero. Like his torso is freaking tall. Like he's long and like jacked. And anyway, plays really well. Played well today. And the Falcons benefited. I thought the linebacker play was really, really solid. And again, we were watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall, my wife and I, on our baby moon, as people do. And you talk about Marcus Mariota being a little bit of like a budget quarterback, right? Like they're very tight against the cap. That movie is a little bit like this Falcons team in that you have some actors, Bill Hader, Jonah Hill, Russell Brand, before they really became household names. This movie really like helped them explode onto the scene. I think that they were able to get so many great actors like at a cost, and that speaks to why that film cohesively is so brilliant. The Falcons are like the same way to me. I think that Terry Fontenot, Arthur Smith knew exactly what they wanted, how everything could work together. And that's what Terry Fontenot was so good at in New Orleans, was getting these guys who were maybe a little bit misjudged by the market as a whole. And you get them here in the right fit, the right scheme. And the Falcons look so great. And I think the run game is the most clear example of that. I mean, the Falcons are one of the best rushing offenses in the league. And I asked, it's great. It's so freaking good.
I did a radio show with the 49ers podcast or radio station, and it was just crazy because we were talking about, can the Falcons do what they did against Tampa Bay and the a couple games before against the number one defense in the NFL, one of the top rushing defenses in the NFL? I'm like, yeah, they can, because these guys don't know any better, and they're playing loose because they have nothing to lose. No one expects them to be a great rushing team. No one expects the offensive line to be gelling and to be like steamrolling defensive linemen who are much bigger, higher paid, stronger than them. No one expects us to do that. But yet we're doing it week after week after week. And we're not stopping because of these guys. Because Caleb Huntley, Tyler Algier, they're not household names. No one knows these guys. But guess what? Like you mentioned, they're the bargain basement, smorgasbord or band that we have before they become famous, before they get big. Maybe we'll be not laughing, but crying because all these guys are leaving us in 2, 3, 4 years when they get big contracts because Caleb Huntley is breaking records and this team wants him, and Algier's going there, and some of our offensive linemen are going to the Pro Bowls because Pro Football Focus has them just graded out at the top of the league because I don't know how they're doing it. They are running.
They're so ball. Good. Yeah.
And so for them to do it today, I don't know, it was over 100 yards. I forget the exact number.
It was like 162.
Yeah, it's insane. Insane. You add Marcus's numbers to that. It is just a freaking notice to the rest of the league saying this wasn't a fluke. That's number one defense. And if we do that to them, that should make us the number one rushing attack. Maybe. I don't know how that works. But if they're supposed to be the best and we beat the best.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you call it what you want. But I love what the Falcons do with the run game. They got attitude. They were nasty. Guys out there shaking their head, pointing at people. They knew that they had something. Not that they have something special. As a running back, it's been amazing to watch the transformation of our running game into something that I'm super proud of.
Yeah, 168 rushing yards today, so I was 6 off. But so they have gained more than 150 rushing yards 5 of their 6 games this season. That's the third time in franchise history that they've done that, and it's the first since 2006, which obviously, unfortunately that's the year before you got there, Ovie.
I'm about
So
to say, what was that?
they got worse. They got
There.
worse. I'm not saying that. That's just
These are
facts.
lies. These are lies.
But yeah, obviously, like Michael Vick, work done, TJ Duckett,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. Like that was the heyday of the Falcons as DVD, one of the most effective rushing offenses. And Marcus Mariota being at quarterback, another running quarterback, plays into that and makes it much easier. But
That's what happened. They had Vick. We had Matt Ryan. That's the only reason that we didn't get those numbers. If we added Michael Vick to what me and Michael Turner were doing,
Matty Wheels, dude, it would have been the greatest
chance.
rushing attack like in NFL. Well, not to disparage Warwick Dunn, who was at the game. I saw him today as well.
I saw him too. Actually, we passed in the suites while we were shaking hands, kissing babies. I dapped him up, and he's still doing good. He can probably still be a scat back somewhere for like a play or two.
Yeah, he's like in shape. It's impressive.
Work done. That's the guy.
But I talked to Chris Lindstrom and Jake Matthews after the game, and they could not have been more relaxed. I don't know if you saw the video on Twitter that the offensive line and Arthur Smith were just pounding Bud Lights after the game. I think they ran into one of the Delta Sky Clubs on the sideline and just saw some beers and all grabbed the beer and drank it, which is cool as hell, man.
Absolutely.
Like if your head coach is just going to be like, drink up, brother. Let's get some. You earned it. They definitely did. And I asked, and I want you to explain this a little bit more in detail, but there was so much of the pistol formation today on offense for Atlanta. And I asked Chris Lindstrom, what is the benefit of that? What does that allow you to do? I know one of the key benefits is you don't have to go under center to still get a true two-way go from the running back.
Yeah.
Where if you're in shotgun, usually the back is offset left or right of the quarterback, and it most likely is always a run to the opposite side of where the back is lined up. So you give the defense not really a clear look one way or the other, but he also said it keeps the defensive line honest. They're not able to adjust or rotate kind of one way or the other to better prepare for a run into a certain gap based on the look. Is that true? How much of an impact does that make? And could that be part of the reason why we saw so much success on the ground today?
I think so. I think you have more options. So for the defense, I think they're absolutely right. As far as keeping the defense honest, they can't fire off with blinders on. They can't kind of sit there and play. All right, peekaboo. Let me stand the guy up and see which way I'm going to go.
Yeah.
They can't, even when they're trying to blitz, hit a gap with confidence and know that they're not going to get just run around because the quarterback can read. Whatever they do, they're always going to be wrong because the quarterback can figure out, all right, they're going that way. All right, I'll go this gap.
Mike can't be right.
B gap, I'll go A gap. If they're going to stand up, I'll switch the play. The quarterback has so many more options at that pistol formation, and it makes the defense be one beat off. And so that gives the offensive line the ability to, they know where they're going. They can fire off into their chest. They can get even a half a step ahead of a defensive lineman or linebacker, allows us to have the advantage and lets us create those levels, lets us create the movement that Tyler Algiers and Caleb Huntley was just eating off of.
There were so many times where they were one tackle away from an explosive. It wasn't a big day for their average yards per carry, but they were so close a couple of times from getting it. And the other key thing, and I actually didn't realize Jake Matthews was right there until he said this, but I was like, oh, this offense just is predicated on not any lost yardage, no negative plays. And Jake just kind of chuckled dryly and was like, yep, that's the goal. And I was like, yeah, of course. That's the dumbest statement in the world, right?
Get this guy in the coaching room. He knows what he's talking about. No negative plays wins games.
But some coaches, right, are all about you got to risk it to get the biscuit. And this one is just, we want, and you could see it at the running backs at times. It's I could go hunting. I think Cordero Patterson has the longer leash to go hunting for big yards because he's proven that he can
Yeah.
find that where it's available. But all of the running backs today did such a good job of like, it's not here. I'm going to duck my head and get 3 yards.
Yep.
And then we're going to line up and it'll be 2nd and 7 and we'll try again.
North and south. Put your
Yep.
foot in the dirt. Good north and south. Coaches always say it.
And they're so good at that. And then let's talk quickly about the defense because we're kind of doing an injustice just talking about the offense
We are.
all day today because this defense has now, and they should have done it again in Tampa, made a play to put the Falcons in position to win a game. And this is becoming a key part of victories for Atlanta is the defensive effort, especially in spots. I don't know if we've yet to see a totally dominant defensive effort, but they are making big plays at various points throughout the game to like really give Atlanta a chance.
Absolutely. Like just the fact that we're getting 3 and outs that
Yeah.
we're like holding people on, big 3rd and 1s and 4th and 1s, just seeing that this defense is making plays.
That 4th and 1, that 3rd and 1 was
scooping
so
balls. Now, AJ Terrell's got to be a little more careful with the ball because at first I'm like, wait, did he fumble it on the 1 and it rolled in and it's a touchback? That's one of the most frustrating things ever. I'm like,
it shouldn't have been a touchdown. It should have. I think by the letter of the law, if he fumbled it at the 1, you can't advance a fumble on offense. So I think it should have come. But like, I'm not gonna obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to, as we've now understood, leaving up to the officials leaves us in a bad place. And so, but still, the fact that they were flying around, making plays, being the defense that we thought that they should always be, you got to go back and we give Arthur Smith a lot of love and the offense a lot of love. Dean Pease, we got to talk about as a coach what he's doing in putting these guys in a position to succeed.
Yeah.
And what the players have done in actually taking the vast playbook, so we've heard, and really internalizing it because it feels like now we can do everything.
It's all second nature, man.
We can like move around. We're trying to show them different looks and playing different coverages. We're getting in their head, and it's fun. At least being at the game and actually seeing, because I was at the Delta Lounge and great seats, and had to move to some other suites to say hi. And went to the UPS Lounge, and I just got to see from different angles throughout the whole stadium. And watching them, it was just fun, man, because you could see the little ants running around, little people, and they were closer than I usually get to see. And I just saw the physicality. I heard the pads hitting. I saw the defense just not letting up, and so it got me all excited because I'm like, this is defense. This is Falcons defense. This reminds me of some of the John Abraham days when I was playing, and these guys, we knew that they were going to do something. Grady Jarrett is a force. He pay that man every year whatever he asked for because he was just pointing. He was yelling. He grabbed somebody's face mask one time and said, "Let's go." He was
double teamed all day too.
And it's every day. It's every day. It's every week. It's every year. But I don't want us to get so used to his greatness that we fail to recognize it because it is great, and he's helping be the heart and soul of that defense to where him and AJ Terrell, we're now, I don't know what we are numbers wise, but I feel like we're becoming a respectable defense because that's been one of our points where we're never going to a Super Bowl, we're never going to playoffs. Our defense is always subpar, and we're getting to the point where we're par.
I mean, outside of Brandon Ayuk today, like they shut down a pretty dangerous offense. I mean, this is one of the best yards after the catch offenses in the league with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. Richie Grant kind of took it from both of them at various points today and got run over, but he made the tackle. And I talked to Rashaan Evans after the game, who had a really good game today, I think, and was actually had the green dot, was calling the defense for Atlanta with Michael Walker being out. But I asked him about the screens, right? Because when San Francisco was making their comeback, it was screens. Their first touchdown, wide receiver screen on kind of a beautiful play design. But I was like, what did they just stop running screens, or what did you guys do to stop that? And he had like an interesting thought where basically his take on the screen is you have to stop it early. You have to stop it like immediately. And once you stop a couple of them, coordinators have a tendency to like throw those plays out quicker than some others. And it's like, all right, the defense is on to us. this is inherently a play that's designed to trick a defense. So they
Yeah.
know it's coming. We're going to throw it out. So kind of once they took that away, I feel like San Francisco went to some of the deep shots uh,
Hmm.
to over the middle, and the secondary played great. And they lost AJ Terrell. They lost
Yep.
Casey Hayward. AJ was in the locker room talking to the media after the game. Doesn't seem like the hamstring is too big of a deal. Um, Obviously, he stayed on the sideline. Casey Hayward left, went back into the tunnel with trainers. Was a shoulder injury. Didn't look very good. Those injuries, how much do they concern you? Because we did see how deep this secondary is, and they looked pretty good without them.
They looked real good. You kind of get worried when you get some of your top guys leave the field
Yeah,
because the second string is not getting the same amount of reps as the first string is, just by nature of the way that practice goes. So to see that live fire and be able to respond like that, it means in the film room, and
yeah,
that's where a lot of, like, I remember my backup, whether it was Veron Haynes or a couple other Corey, I forget Corey's last name. I had a couple of backups. I just used to always get on them and say, "Hey, man, don't leave early. Like, you got to watch extra film." They just, "Well, you gonna watch film with me?" I said, "I'll watch film with you, but you should stay watch more when I leave because you're not getting the the reps in practice. You're not getting the live bullets. You got to be able to understand what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, how I react to it, and that muscle memory is so important, especially I would think as a DB, much more
yeah,
than the fullback, because you have milliseconds to make a decision and to see the receiver's footwork and to get the routes down. But we didn't have a huge drop off. I don't think we had any drop off when AJ Terrell left. Again, there's no one like him, but for to have guys be exposed and to get bombed on and to get mossed by all the receivers once our top guys go out didn't happen. So I mean that's just a testament to the preparation for the players and the coaches.
Yeah, and Darren Hall played really, really well, kind of stepping in, second year guy. It was great to see him make that pass break up deep on Brandon Ayuk, and then the very next play, which when they threw that flag, like my first thought was they both have a right to the ball. What are we doing here? Like
Yes.
he's allowed to go for that ball just like the receiver is. Very glad that they picked that up, and that was a huge. I mean, the defense again, play after play. It wasn't always consistent throughout the game, but neither is the offense. But both of these units are able to make some key plays and step up when they need to, and that's a mark of a good team.
And
So
finish. That's the
they
most important part. They finished in
they
the
did.
third and fourth quarter. They finished. I'm like, oh, here we go again. It was 14-0. Now it's only
Yeah,
14-14. And oh, we're up to 28. Okay, well, they're gonna come back 28-28. Like the Falcons are gonna do what the Falcons
I
do.
was ready for it as well.
But I was like, wait, it's not happening. Wait, how it's fourth quarter? Minutes left?
Yep.
We might actually win this and not make any dumb mistakes to let the team back into it. So finishing, delivering, I think just playing to the whistle, that's something that is so important. I don't care how good you are first, second, third quarter. It's about what you do in the fourth. And we played great in the fourth.
Yeah. And even the end of the first half though, that was
Hmm.
crucial. Taking a
Yeah.
21-14 lead, the 49ers get the ball back I think 54 seconds or so. They're obviously trying to at least get a field goal out of that and cut into the deficit. No points, an
Yeah.
interception. Actually, prevent defense. So when all the fans are like, why are we playing prevent defense? Prevent defense is when you have 7 dudes at like the goal line. All right.
Mhm.
Let's chill on all the prevent defense talk. But they got to pick on it. Let's finish here, though, Ovie, talking about finishing. Where did the Falcons stack up to you in the NFC? Because the Buccaneers lost today. They're
Yeah.
3-3. They've got the tie break. So right now, they're technically still in first place. But like the Giants are what 4-5-1. I mean the Packers are garbage. What is happening with everything? Like the Falcons can make a run at this.
We are definitely. God, I can't even imagine saying it because we're supposed to be a 2-win team. Say, oh, we're a playoff team. It doesn't even. Like, I almost said that I had to stop. Like, calm down, Obi. Calm down. Uh, a wild card. I
Yeah,
think I said this last year that we had a chance to go to the wild card. Well, yeah, we have a chance to go to the wild card, but it depends if we can be consistent with what we've done the last couple of games. And the run game, I dare say 3-4 game. We've been consistent like all year long with the run game, minus like 1 or 2 games. We've been dominant, like really dominant. So
yeah,
I like to say that if you have the run game, it makes it easy for Marcus. Just throw the ball to the receivers who are open. Just run. Don't. make us lose games. So ah, I think we're a wild card playoff team, and it sounds insane to say that for a team that's supposed to win 2 games. But I've just been really excited with what we've seen so far. We can keep on getting better. Like I mentioned, Kyle Pitts hasn't even gotten started, and if he gets going and Marcus starts really feeling himself, especially after this game against this defense, yeah, wild card playoffs. I think we could be the last team to squeak in. Why not?
Yeah, again, I think there's a chance that they're even a little bit more than that because this was supposed to be the toughest part of their schedule.
It
This
is,
was
yeah.
the first 7 games were brutal, and the Falcons, they've got games against teams like Pittsburgh, and they've got, Washington and all of these teams that are not up to the caliber of the 49ers, frankly,
Yeah.
and kind of seeing what Seattle is now, like that's a quality win. They're leading the NFC West. So they've got the Cincinnati Bengals next week. But after that, the Chargers are maybe like then they've got the Ravens and the Bucks. Those are the 3 best teams on their schedule. They can make a run at this, guys. Like
Yeah.
they can make something special happen here. So that'll do it for today's recap. Really solid, excellent win. I think the best performance for Atlanta this season against a pretty good opponent. Certainly a banged up one, but a good one. So today's podcast was presented by Bet Online. Please follow us on Twitter at Ovie Mughelli 34. He will tweet about all things Delta, Sky Club, or wherever he's getting to watch all the exclusive access events. And you can follow me on Twitter at Will McFadden. Please let everybody know about the podcast. We are hopefully following what could be a fun and exciting team and season. They like to drink brews after the game, immediately after the game. And, what's more fun than that? Bud Light sponsor this podcast. But Ovie, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, really, it's been an amazing run. Let's keep on doing it. We will follow the Falcons as long as they keep on winning, and they will because they make it more fun when they do.
Heck yeah. I can't say it any better myself, so I won't. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, take care.